Da Vinci or Andy Warhol. Have you ever spent a day wandering around an art museum? Have you ever read a comic strip in the Sunday paper or watched cartoons on a Saturday morning? Today's guest has an interest in all of these things, and we'll talk about how she incorporates them into her everyday life. The Humanities Communications Arts Department at Norwalk Community College presents The New Directors, the show that introduces you to television's future writers, directors, and personalities. And now join our host, Amin Norlil. Meet the new directors.
Thank you for joining us for today's edition of The New Directors. All the people involved in this program are students in a television production course and are directing, switching, controlling audio, and operating cameras for the first time today. The guests you are about to meet are students who are not on camera, are behind the scenes, working hard to bring you this program with as few mistakes as possible. Each student will write and direct 4 different productions. This program will give them a chance to talk about themselves, the productions they are planning to give you, and a chance to get to know them and watch their program throughout the semester. Today our guest is a person who has a strong interest in art of every form. She is most interested in paintings, cartoon productions, and classically known paintings. She hopes to have an art show of her work one day, and work in drawing and voicing cartoon characters. It's me today's guest, Sara Hubbell.
Hi, how are you?
How you doing, Sara? Well, the first question I have to ask you today is, why did you start painting? And who are your influences, and why did you get interested?
Well, I've always been painting ever since I was little. It was always kind of like a, daily activity, arts and crafts, probably so my mom could do some chores. She always would give me paints and like a canvas or just some big paper, and we'd work with finger paints, and I always just loved doing it when I was little, and I always got compliments on it when I was little, so I felt like it was something I could really do. My mom's a huge influence to me. She's an artist, and she always kind of like inspired me and showed me how really to put different things together. And once I got older, I kind of found my own style, and it's completely different from anything that my mother does or anybody else does, but it's myself, and I enjoy it. Probably my biggest influences. Otherwise, I really enjoy like classic artists like Botticelli and Da Vinci. I just like what they have laid down for us, and I think as a modern artist in today's world, then it's kind of interesting to know your history. I also really enjoy pop art. Lichtenstein is like my favorite. I think he's just like really inspired, and then Andy Warhol, of course, is just top notch to me. Pretty much, I also actually am really inspired by cartoons, even though they're very basic drawing. It's probably one of my favorite things to watch, and I get made fun of by my friends for having on my TiVo 40 hours of Nickelodeon and Disney cartoons, but they're just always been really interesting to me. And one of my huge inspirations would be cartoons. This is Edward Monk's The Scream, yeah. I did that for last year's Norwalk Community College show. This is one I did this year. This is Botticelli's Venus, and that's just my signature.
I see. All right, well, could you tell us why you decided to take the TV production course?
I wanted to learn like the background of working with film. I have a theater background, so directing and working backstage in theater, and it's very different. It's very different when you are actually doing it. Like it sounds different. It sounds the same, and it's basically the same knowledge. But once you're actually performing it, it's extremely different. And I love film. I'm a film student, so to kind of learn the background of film when I knew the background of theater was something that I felt was important. I was so used to deciding what to bring into the scene that it was really interesting to learn what what to bring the scene to.
Yeah.
It was like backwards almost to me, but it worked out because I just ended up having to think of it that way, like not thinking about like who enters the stage, but where I move the stage to. That was really interesting to me.
All right. Well, what were some of the most useful things you have learned in the TV production course?
My favorite thing to use that I've learned is composition. I really think it's important. I like to take photographs, but I always thought a good photograph is a photograph where the subject is centered. And we learned that that's not true. Like to use the rule of threes we used, that really kind of makes you look at stuff from a different angle. And it shows beauty from a side that you wouldn't really expect to see it from. And I thought that was really interesting to learn about that, and especially when I got to actually utilize it. Definitely framing the picture. An important thing when we did like the campus story was actually taking a series of shots and then kind of making the story up as you edit it. It was kind of composing it out of already pre-shot footage. And I thought that was interesting because that too would never happen in theater. You have to go along with a script, and I just thought it was kind of fun to be able to say, all right, I'm going to have him over here now, when normally I probably would have had him over here. I'll mix it up a little bit because it's film, so it doesn't have to flow. It can be it can be all over the place. You don't have to like wait for the person to cross to stage left instead. Right. I thought that was really interesting. Pretty much those. Oh, the choosing audio to go along with your footage, that was interesting too, especially considering we had a library provided for us, and not having an idea of what it was beforehand. It was interesting to kind of pick the audio for the video rather than making video to go with your audio, and I found that was pretty interesting too.
All right. Well, can you tell us about some of the projects you made for the TV production class, such as the Guns N' Roses commercial, the campus story, and of course the fall foliage?
Yeah, the Guns N' Roses, we started off as kind of learning the fundamentals of editing. It was our first project, and it kind of taught us, when given footage or when you have just raw footage, how to put it together again and really make it into a finished product. We learned how to cut and drop. Mostly, this was a slow motion effect that we had to make work. A lot of continuity issues, and mostly the different effects kind of just ended up working out in the long run, because after spending a long time with it, it just ended up working. This is my campus story. This one I kind of had more freedom to be able to figure out what it was that I wanted to portray. And this one I decided through different effects that I wanted to show like tension and nervousness. And I really wanted to portray how one bad moment in your life can seem like it's taking forever. And this is my spring project. It was honestly difficult at first because there wasn't much spring available, but I kind of was forced to look at things deeper and find what could be worked together to make a beautiful picture of spring, I thought.
Oh, that's pretty beautiful to me, the flowers. That's a pretty nice shot right here.
Thank you.
Nice composition. Well, now I know that you got a best project out of all of these. And can you tell us about it, and why do you think it's your best video?
My spring one. It was definitely the best one, I think.
Spring.
It was definitely the most interesting to get to do because it, again, almost like I was saying about directing theater and directing TV, I didn't know what I was going to have. I didn't know what I was going to find. And the campus story, we had to tell people what to do and what we wanted. And in the spring video, it was up to nature. I had to go out and find it and make it work. And I thought that was great. And these different shots, I really enjoyed doing because it was not setting up a camera and having people, inside the shot. I had to discover what was the best framing, what was the best composition, and how everything would look the best on the footage. And I got a little dirty down and kneeling down at the ground to get the flowers shot from the bottom, but it was interesting, and it was a nice day, and I got some surprises. Yeah, this is 123. Most of it's in my hometown, Ridgefield. Then there's a little bit on the side of 123. I literally had to pull over because I was like, oh, daffodils.
That's interesting. Well, now after learning all these video techniques and taking a video production class, after learning all that and how to shoot and edit these projects, what would you like to create next?
I've always wanted to make a short film. I have a favorite book that I've always, since I read it, wanted to make into a movie. I just think it would be a beautiful movie, and I'd love to be able to portray what I see when I read it onto film. Mm-hmm. I also would like to be able to do music videos because it would be fun, and I always have ideas flowing through my head of the perfect music video for this song, and if I could just get it onto film and then I can have it and put it on YouTube and become famous.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I also would like to make a documentary. I'm taking nonfiction film, so I'm really becoming interested in documentaries. And
it's pretty cool.
That's pretty much it.
Well, today we got to meet someone who has found her artistic calling and hopes to one day incorporate her knowledge of television production into a possible career in cartoons. I would like to thank our guest, Sara Hubbell, for joining us today. Thank you for coming, Sara. We hope you continue to join us each week to watch our program. Thank you and good day.
This has been The New Directors with our host, Amin Narell, and directed by Juan Hubbell, and I am your announcer, Nick Ranmer. The New Directors is a Noah Community College student production.